Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we stand here on a beautiful, partly cloudy day, July 6th, just 4 months before the election, we do have the big time updates. We've got Trump up in basically every poll. We've got an erroneous Bloomberg poll that came out that says Biden's up in some of these states. It's total crap. I'm going to get to that in a second, but let's just look at the head-to-head Biden-Trump. I haven't really done one of these videos in a while where we just diagnose all of it, and we realize that at this point, Trump, the way things are going, you look at the underlying metrics combined with just the overall polls, Trump's got his biggest lead ever. You've got sites admitting Trump's got like an 80% chance to win the election at this point. It's not surprising considering the Democratic Party is split right now. You could even argue it's like 60% chance they want Biden gone, like 70% of them do. And they're meeting, they're talking about it, they're releasing things about Biden. You know, the doctors meeting with the Alzheimer's like 7 or 8 times now. This is getting really ugly, which is really good news for Trump. And again, it shouldn't surprise anyone. The Democrats right now are eating themselves. Does it artificially inflate Trump's numbers? I do think it does a little bit because there's not that CNN mainstream pushback because even they're admitting that Biden needs to go. So inevitably, it's going to hurt Biden's numbers. You take a look at the most recent polls. I mean, these are just general election. To put this into perspective, Hillary was up by about 5, which actually, I think that was on the low end in terms of her lead over Trump with the popular vote, but she was up by 5 this time in 2016, 4 months before the 2016 election against Trump. Biden in 2020 facing Trump, who was the incumbent at the time, up 9 in terms of the popular vote, and now Trump's up by 3.5. That's a shift of about 12 points. It gets even worse when you look at favorability ratings between Biden and Trump. Just the shift is remarkable. Trump is more likable than Biden now. Unbelievable. You can take a look at these numbers. Trump with just a sharp increase, and then Biden sitting around 44%. Technically, in terms of this overall, Trump back in January was up by about 4.5 points. I do think when you look at the total polling, there are a few polls that have not been put, because I think what this is, like the dark gray is everything that's kind of just the aggregate, what they're basing it off of, because they're the most recent polls. All of these polls have kind of been like retired, if you will, because they're from too far ago. So Quinnipiac still needs to update post-debate, and we know Quinnipiac normally liberal, but their last poll in June before the debate did admit that Trump was up by 4. They're going to update. I think they're probably going to have Trump up 6 or 7. You also need Fox News. Remember the weird Fox News poll that had Biden up by 2? We'll see if they update. Rasmussen, they're going to come in with a Trump plus 13 probably. Obviously, you know, they are a Republican pollster. It's very unlikely they're going to be 100% right. They always seem to overestimate conservatives. They're the one pollster that does, but you can see New York Times, Trump plus 6. You do have CBS, Trump plus 2. Pretty much all the recent polls have Trump up. CNN, Trump plus 6. They've had Trump plus 6 for a few months now. They've done a number of polls, but let's just take a look at the metrics right now. This is the analytics. You do have Trump right now projected around 310 electoral votes. I think that's pretty conservative based on where we're at. Many people, originally it was like around 312. There was an agreement on Trump beating Biden 312 to like 226. But now as things have come out, you're talking about Minnesota, you're talking about Virginia, you're starting to possibly talk about New Mexico going for Trump, and it might be more than 312, along with statewide Maine and the second district in Nebraska as well. So right now, their polling has it Trump 46%, Biden around 44%. This, in terms of meaningfulness, it's not really meaningful, but definitely if a Republican is up like this, it's pretty remarkable. If you know how they pull Trump in 2020, in 2016, the left is hoping that now they're overcorrecting and they're giving Trump too much support in terms of it, and Biden's going to actually outperform it. That's the whole 2022 red wave thing that didn't happen. Well, actually, if you look at the aggregate numbers, the popular vote, they were right. They said Republicans were going to win the popular vote in 2022, the total number of votes. By like 2.5, they did. It was just the way the voting was allocated. It was the worst way possible for Republicans. So it really wasn't that far off when you look back on it in 2022. And obviously, we know the presidential election's a lot different. You take a look at the states right now. Michigan, they've got it Republican plus 2, Nevada Republican plus 3, Wisconsin Republican plus 3, Pennsylvania Republican plus 3, Georgia Republican plus 4, Arizona Republican plus 5. So you're looking at Georgia and Arizona really trending for Trump. I would say if we were going into the election night, certainly Trump would be the favorite in Georgia, Arizona. I would also argue he's the favorite in Nevada. Some of these other states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, some of the polls like the Bloomberg that came out, and I'm not saying this because I'm obsessed with Trump, but those polls don't make any sense. Biden doesn't even have support of his own party. He's got the lowest approval rating in recent U.S. history, but he's beating Trump by like 5 points in Michigan. Yeah, okay, that's realistic. I'm not doing this. It doesn't make any sense. Not that it matters all that much, but this is just the overall. You can see this is a state-by-state prediction. I wonder where they have New Mexico. Biden with a 79% chance to win New Mexico right now. They've got Trump with a 68% chance to win Wisconsin, Biden at a 50. So that's a pure swing state. Wow. And then Virginia, Biden at a 66% chance. So we're seeing the shift with Minnesota and Virginia. And it's not just this. And you can see down here, Trump clearly the favorite with several states to spare in terms of the recent analytics, at least according to this. Obviously, when you look at 538, and I think 538 was like bought out by ABC. They don't even have their own site. It's like they have like a neutered ABC version of their site. But look at this. This is historically bad. His disapproval is plus 20.1. It was actually plus 20.2. So good news for Biden. It's going down. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, but you can see Biden, 37% approval rating. He's totally lost. He doesn't listen to anyone outside of his family. You've got Hunter Biden waking up at night screaming, the Secret Service having to calm him down. What is going on there? I mean, at this point in Biden, it's like they give him a crib. Remember the reports that came out now that Biden can only operate from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and now it's gotten so bad they've installed a crib into the Oval Office, and he takes a nap in the crib, and they give him like a DS to play on. That's how bad this has gotten. It's a total joke. And Hunter Biden, he's trying to like be the vice president. He wants to take over the Democratic Party. Him and Obama right now, there's a lot of infighting. And so this is what we're dealing with. Obama's pissed off. Hunter's told him to F off. It's over. And you've got Joe Biden. He can barely think. That's why he's so controlled by Jill, who's just power hungry. Jill fast forwarded that Vogue piece. It was going to be released later. She's like, no, release that immediately. They're saying that I'm the god, I'm the president. And then Jill releases the Vogue article on Monday. And in the article, she's like, you don't know what it's like to have this much power. That's what she was saying in it. So it's like, the whole thing is a mess, and Biden right now is minus 20, and even Democrats are admitting it. CNN's come out and admitted it. And just look at this, plus 21, plus 20, plus 24, plus 20, plus 20, plus 27, I mean, this is a constant disapproval of plus 20. And you know the real kicker? Remember COVID that destroyed Trump? Trump actually, and see, this is what I was talking about. I don't know if I should zoom in on this or what. I don't know if it's going to warp it. Okay, here it is. I'm zooming in on this. This is Trump versus Biden, right? Approval rating. Obviously, because of the media, because of the spin, they gave Biden a lot more freedom. He started with an approval rating 54%. Trump immediately was at 38, 39 because his immediate win was clouded with the fake dossier. The Hillary Clinton campaign puts that out. They deny it. They get like an $8,000 fine. It's totally illegal. It plagues Trump's campaign for 3 years. He sheds the Russia crap. And then independents come out and they say in 2019, right before, it was like, this was like January 2020. They're like, Trump is this god who's like watching over the country. Now there's so much bipartisan support for Trump. And then they get hit with the pandemic comes. I mean, look at this. Trump's up to 46% approval. That's with 90% of the media, day 1100, 90% of the media against Trump. He was going to have 55, 60% approval rating. According to experts, it was unbelievable. He gets hit with COVID and he's still ahead even after the COVID, because at this point, if it's 2020 July, we would have had been dealing with COVID for 3 months. Trump had to shut the economy down for a month. All the experts admit Trump handled it amazingly. I've even said that he had, because there's really no win. You have to shut it down, and then you realize it doesn't really affect people under the age of 55. We've got to open everything back up. The left, they're the ones that wanted zero COVID, not Trump, and then they still gaslit Trump. And then the disgusting, situation with Newsom where he gets annihilated by DeSantis in a COVID showdown. But guys, just look at this. This is a comparison. Trump was dealing with a global pandemic. There was no win possible for him. No matter what he did, there was going to be gaslighting. He shuts everything down. The economy gets destroyed. He opens everything up. They say you're killing people. But Biden's still 2.5 points below Trump. There's no pandemic. There's nothing. This is just poor leadership. And this is infighting within the Democratic Party that's causing it. And that's why you see Biden even lower than Trump after the pandemic. And I think he's probably going to stay below him unless, of course, you get Biden possibly removed. And then just looking at the national polls, the average according to 538, you can see they've had it very close. Trump's been up by about 1. Now Trump's starting to expand his lead by 2.5 points. And look at the last 5-6 polls. Trump plus 5, Trump plus 5, Trump plus 6, Trump plus 8, Trump. I mean, Trump, look at this. Really? They had to include the Michelle Obama poll? I thought that poll was 50-39. That's a joke of a poll. And even liberals will admit that's ridiculous. Michelle Obama winning by 12 points. Oh, no, they've had 2 polls. One of them had Michelle winning by 12. The other had her by 11. Just erroneous polling. She's not even running. It doesn't matter. You can see Whitmer here, Trump plus 6. You've got some other names. But either way, Trump is up significantly right now. Liberals know it. Conservatives know it. Independents know it. They all agree on it. We know they're going to pull something, whether they stick with Biden. There's going to be this united front. I really don't think they can. I think it's it is beyond repair. Because think about this. Is Biden going to magically become like 40 years old again? This is a narrative now that CNN and all of these, mainstream younger liberals are running with, that Biden cannot perform and function, which they're correct. It just took them a year to admit it, or really 3 years. I was saying this back in 2020. There's no way Biden could last. Now it's all come out. They've been lying for years about Biden being competent and ready to do the job. You've got people saying that, oh yeah, Biden's fine, like 9-10 months ago. This has been going on a while. The reason they didn't want to remove Biden is because these people are obsessed with historical reference. That's why they impeached Trump twice. They wanted it on his record. There's only been 4 impeachments in U.S. history. They wanted Trump to have 2 of them. They're obsessed with it, and they know if Biden is removed, that will be a bad stain on the Democratic Party. But it's gotten so bad now, they know they're going to lose to Trump. They have to do something, and they have to have Biden step down. The 25th Amendment would look even worse, so they're trying to pressure Biden to step down right now. With Trump up by this much. They can't even go back and say, oh, everything's fine because now we agree that Biden's our guy, let's rally around him. This is a cognitive problem that doesn't get cured by you just rallying around Biden after you said for weeks after the debate Biden's cooked. You can't just go back on that. This is a problem that's going to... Now, I guess you could say if Biden does somehow take a cognitive test and pass it, you could try and change the narrative with that. But it just seems like at this point, there are too many people on the record in the media within the Democratic Party that do not want Biden, and they're going to be forced to change him one way or another. And right now we're in that waiting period where they're trying to pressure Biden to step down and not make it dirty. If they have to make it dirty, they'll release the Hur tapes. It'll be really bad, and Biden will be forced out via the 25th Amendment. That's what I think is going to happen if they stick with him. I mean, listen, Biden versus Harris, neither of them are very good. I think Biden probably would perform better. We haven't seen a ton of polls with Kamala against Trump, but the recent ones, I know Trump was up by about 7. He was up by 3 against Biden with the same pollster. So that is just the update right there. And you do also have Donald Trump favorability. Trump was trending upwards here. He really was. And now it's kind of, Trump is always going to be a guy with a pretty high unfavorable rating because he's got a very, big personality. People don't like that. It is what it is. But even him, he's only at a plus 12 in terms of favorability. And you could say, well, some of that's nostalgia. Some of that's people, Trump's not in the spotlight as much as Biden right now. So Biden's going to inevitably have a worse rating. That's not necessarily true. I do understand the idea of it because Biden is the president and they're going to blame him for everything. But still, this is remarkable with Trump, the felon, right? That's what they've said. So Trump is a felon and his approval rating really doesn't change at all. That's because everyone knows it's ridiculous. The left got lucky with that sentencing getting pushed back to September, and it's going to keep getting pushed back until after the election because they knew it was a total sham. They knew it was reflected in the polls that it wasn't going to do anything. And no matter what they did to Trump, no matter what sentence he got, the independent people. I mean, look at this. He's a convicted felon. Why doesn't he move at all? You would think, oh my God, he would be so unfavorable. No way can we let a convicted felon in the White House, because nobody buys that crap outside of liberal people, and it's not really going to affect his favorability because liberals already hate him anyways. So that's really what's going on. But Trump -11, -12 in terms of likability. Biden -20, an 8-point difference. That was unheard of in 2016 going into election night when Biden had a positive. Not only was he not -20, it was like +5 in terms of being favorable. Trump was, -13, -14. With how it's shifted, these smart Democrats, they know it's impossible for Biden to win. They have to remove him. The cognitive is not getting any better. Republicans were right all along. The past year, 2 years, it was total vindication during the debate. And now the liberals are trying to say we had no clue. Biden is such a great servant. He served the country, and for 50 years he's been in politics. But we have to remove him now. So that's really what's going on. And really, this is based on sentiment, based on everything, based on the fractures in the Democratic Party. This is Trump's biggest lead. This is a death grip on the 2024 election by Trump right now. I'm not saying that's going to continue, because I do agree inevitably they will rally behind someone, whether that's somehow keeping Biden and, changing the rhetoric and saying, oh, he passed a cognitive test, which I don't think is going to happen. He said he's not going to take one. Or pressuring him to drop out and someone else comes in, and then everything gets revived. It's totally fine. We've got a new person, whether it's Kamala, whether it's Whitmer. It's probably going to be Kamala, but they're going to try and swing it somehow. I don't think it's going to matter. They might get a little bit of a bump, but after a while, Trump should very easily beat Harris, if that is the candidate he ends up facing during the election. And I would imagine there'd be at least one debate between those two, although Trump really doesn't have to grant it. But he's someone that wants to debate. He's already come out and said he wants to debate Biden again. Biden has said he wants to debate, but Biden is going so far off, topic. He's going so rogue in terms of what the Democrats actually want. He's only listening to Jill and Hunter. It's a total mess. But right now, Trump has a massive lead over Biden. People are saying, you look at the internal polling. That's the other thing with Real Clear Politics. They don't show the internal Biden polling that had him losing New Mexico and Virginia and Minnesota. These are catastrophic numbers, and we still don't know who Trump's going to pick for the VP. People are now saying Rubio, but there's really no point in me speculating on that. Either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.